Hey, Matt. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing great. I think it's good morning for you. You're
Good
in Mountain
morning for
Time.
me.
Yeah,
I have my second cup of coffee.
nice.
Did you already have all your coffee for today, or are you still having more?
Yeah. I drink. Yeah. Long story short, yes, it's already gone.
Gone and done. I was
Yep.
excited for this one. I was like waiting. I just got off some meetings. I was waiting for my second cup because that is always an exciting part of the day for me. I love coffee. I absolutely love coffee. I love the ritual of coffee. I love the flavor. You can't, I've tried in the past to substitute it with like that mushroom
hmm
water or whatever. It's junk. It has to be actual coffee, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I can't really work without coffee, but I can be fine without it too. So it's like it's just
Yeah.
I definitely have to wind down on it because my tolerance gets more and more if I keep drinking more.
Yeah.
So I do need like the coffee vacation weeks to wind down.
Coffee
So
vacation weeks. I love that.
yeah, because then like right now I drink maybe like the amount of milligrams of caffeine. I think it's equivalent to like 3 espresso shots in my pour over,
Yeah.
and I need to downscale that so it becomes like just back to one that does the same effect. I just have to take a week off basically, and
Yeah. I'm the
that's it.
same. If I take 5 to 7 days off of caffeine, we're back to ground zero.
Yeah, I can only do that though if it's like not a busy week. So that's
Yeah, I
basically the only
know.
way you can
I'm the
pull
same.
it
I
off.
like how you said that. You need to work with coffee, but you could not have it on other days. I'm the same. I've noticed if I am doing something that's really active, if I'm up snowboarding and forget coffee or like doing something else that's not work, I could actually go the day without it. But it's the same. I cannot work without at least 1 or 2 cups of coffee.
I think it depends on the kind of work
Hmm.
because if I don't have anything pressing for the day, I can also get by without coffee. If
Okay.
I have to get shit done, there's just no way around it because you can just feel I'm slow, and then like I get anxious if I'm gonna hit whatever hit deadline or time I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So I kind of really need it. Also, if I have a lot of meetings, because it takes a lot of energy for me.
Yeah.
So coffee makes it a lot easier to talk, basically. Because
That's
otherwise, I'm
funny.
just like
I
in
was
zombie
literally going
mode.
to say the opposite of that. I was going to say if I am having conversations with people, that is energy building for me, and it takes so
Yeah.
little energy of mine. So I don't need any coffee to just talk to people. And actually, if when I have more coffee when I'm talking to people, I get a little bit too wordy and excited and crazy and passionate. So the less coffee I have when I'm talking to people, the better. When I am alone or heads down time doing task, I need the coffee to flow because that is draining my energy.
hmm
That's fascinating. Well, today, Matt, I actually really wanted your opinion and just like a quick in and out topic of talking about the silver tsunami that's coming with businesses. And what I mean by that is there is this generational almost opportunity. A lot of people are calling it a dilemma, but I think it's an opportunity of all of these boomer generation that's retiring or exiting the workforce or changing the way that they work, and then it's the younger generations coming in and backfilling. And then the younger generations aren't having as many children to backfill the job market that in a few decades from now is going to be open from the silver tsunami. But then the question I had was there's so many things to talk about with this, the invention of AI and how many types of jobs will that compensate for and adjust to where in 2 or 3 decades do we even need all of the human labor if we're not having the babies to backfill the seats from the boomer generation. So it's kind of a big topic of future planning, of generational issues in the workforce, and then the whole concept of taking these businesses that were founded from the silver tsunami generation decades ago and reinvigorating them, making them run more efficiently, maybe merging and buying up a bunch of them to create bigger corporations. I mean, there's so many things on the line that we could talk about with this, but in general, that silver tsunami and the retiring boomer generation, and what do we do with that with opportunity? Because there is so much, and I don't actually view it as a problem or a uh, I don't know. A lot of people are really worried about it. I don't know. Are you worried about
I
it?
think like there is maybe it's because I'm a little younger. To me, the boomer generation has really exited, has been out the door already.
Okay. So you view it as we've done
Yeah,
it.
because I didn't, I mean, based on my own personal experience, I don't feel that there has been a great product. There hasn't really been good productivity from 65 and up anyway.
What's
So
leading you to that opinion?
comparable output from younger folks, right? Really, actually, that's about as simple as it gets, right? I know folks who are a little bit older, either their employment has changed
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot, and they're no longer able to retain a job
Yeah.
because younger folks can do it faster, a little bit better. The old guard is just not cutting it from a value perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is, I think the generation between 45 and 55, in my opinion, that's the silver tsunami wave. In my opinion, that's like that. There's a lot of productivity in that age range
Yeah.
because they know the internet really, really well. They know tech really well. They know. They're not disconnected from a technological end. They're probably already adapting AI. They know it's their last decade of adoption, and they're in it. They're really in it.
Yeah. That's fascinating to think about the last decade of adopting something new in tech in your career, and that's where they are, right? They're
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this AI thing is kind of the last learning model I'm going through, and then you're right, really after, 55 to 65 is kind of that transitional. Are we retiring? Are we not wanting to be tied to an
I don't think
income?
anyone wants to retire. It's just a
No, it's
matter of they're just the value. It's just you can hire a 55-year-old that is probably going to run laps against a 65-year-old, and it's real. The contrast is there.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're all the wisdom you bring on, because a lot of the wisdom is now being kind of replaced by AI a little bit,
Isn't
like
that
business
scary?
business business wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you used to go sit with kind of the elder of the company, right? Whatever you want to call them, no offense there. And you want to have coffee with them to really gain their insight on the specific trade or, procedure that you're doing. And that's really fascinating you said that, because I was thinking of that the other day. You can literally go into AI somewhat. It's not exactly the same as a human mind with experience, but AI is pulling from all of the information that we have put on the internet, which comes from experience. And you can literally pool all of this, advisement from an elder or an older generation on AI now. So then what is the point? It's like
Right. If you're
personal
no longer as
choice.
fast and you no longer bring information, if the information you
Yeah.
have is now even more accessible than if someone were to approach yourself, then yeah, there's not really a big reason to keep
Yeah.
that kind of individual on board. So the people who are in the 45, 55, I think that is the opportunity that I see,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that generation, which is my sister's generation,
Uh-huh.
that
You said 45 to 55?
yeah, that is you still got energy. You still, again, you still have all the tech know-how,
Is that
but you
Gen
also,
X? Yeah, and a Gen X to millennial?
yeah, I would
That's
say.
like the cusp,
I
right?
mean,
That's like
I let's see. So I'm a millennial, but I don't know what's cut
I'm
off
a millennial, but
1999.
I'm an old millennial. I will be 42 this year, so I'm an old millennial.
Yeah, so the cutoff is 99. So then,
Is Gen
yeah,
X, was that 70s? Was that 78
I don't know.
or 82? But
I just
it's right there on,
I just do 70s, 80s, 90s. This is kind of easier for
yeah.
me. But that generation also has money.
Yeah.
So that's the other piece too, right? So you have money, you got
Investors.
energy, you got 10 years ahead of being productive, maybe
Mhm.
even your most productive years in your life,
Yeah.
right? That's There you go.
Well,
That's
and a lot of that demographic, did you choose to have children, 50 plus is on average around when most of them will be empty nesters. I mean, I think I'll be an empty nester around 52. I can't remember, I calculated it. When my last child is out of the house, but a lot of the generation were having babies in their 20s, and then that grew later and later as it got to my generation of 30 something
Right.
parents. And so that makes you an empty nester in your 50s. So if you're thinking about all of those lifestyle impacts of, well, your children and the expensive years of raising children, now you're going into the expensive years of college and higher education if they're wanting it, but chances are you've already saved for that in some type of a plan leading up to that. So the once you are in that empty nester state, which is in your 50s, you then have freedom. And it's actually earlier because the high school years, you're already kind of empty nest in terms of your time. So you're spending more time in the office or at work. You're spending more time starting that company that you always wanted to, because you have less constraint on being with your kids all the time because they want more freedom. So then these parents,
You have the same amount of time as someone who doesn't have kids. You didn't gain more time. You had the same amount of time as the people who don't have kids.
But you have it back, right? Like 45 to 55.
No, you don't have it back.
Is
you
that
don't
decade.
have it back. You have 20, you're 20 years behind.
But that's what I'm saying is like 45 to 55, if you chose to have children, is now your decade to not have to spend. You're making up for those 2 decades.
I wouldn't say make. I mean, there's glass half full, glass half empty, right? You're not necessarily making up. It depends on how you're looking at it, right? Because if
it depends on what you're trying to do, right? Let's say you wanted to start a business and you waited.
There's no reason. I mean, I know plenty of successful entrepreneurs who start a business at 45.
But a lot of people wait when their kids are older,
right?
Because of what they think is going to happen when they start a business, right?
Yeah, I just there is. There's 2 things. One, I think was it Gen X?
The Gen X.
Gen X or Gen Y, whatever, the 35 to 45 generation, or not, but one before millennial. That one.
Yeah.
I think they have less kids, actually. Way less kids, like way less kids.
Gen Xers have less kids than
and then millennials even have less than them. And then Gen Z obviously way less. So I don't even think like the idea of like, this is why I think that's the better opportunity, because they probably don't have kids right now. Like my sister doesn't have kids. A lot of her friends do not have kids. They don't have, I mean, they just been building wealth for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're not as risky as my generation in terms of like new tech stuff, because they were in a transition period of like, they experienced a .com bubble. So there's a lot more risk aversion, and they also have more experience with the recession, right? Yeah. When I came up, I was just starting my career. So the recession had 0 impact on me versus it had an impact on my sister.
Yeah.
So that generation
We're definitely more conservative. We save a lot more of the money.
Financially conservative, socially liberal is probably what I say. Because my sister is super conservative financially, but she, I know they've accumulated a ton of wealth, just assets, cash, whatever.
Yeah.
And they are primed to either invest into the next big thing or they'll start the big thing. In either situation, they're going to be the kingmakers. And that is the true opportunity. I don't see someone 65 and up being a kingmaker right now.
Yeah. You know what I see? This is interesting. So and this is interesting. I actually differ from you in a bit, where I view the silver tsunami as the 65 to 80 generation now.
I have gray hair now. So I figured if you're 45, you're like already 50% gray
hair.
You're
like 50% of that. So I view that generation as much older, that they've either exited the workforce of corporate America, or they are exiting the workforce if it's their own business. Because I've seen a lot of them transition out to part-time, or to just being an investor, or to wanting to sell their business, but they're waiting too long. They're still working till age 70. And where I see the value, I would agree with you that 45 to 55 is much more efficient in terms of productivity. But then you get up to 55 to 65, and they're probably a bit less tech savvy. They have to jump through more hurdles to really come up in this new AI era. But then you have what you can't get when you type in a prompt to AI for the trade and the technician and the experience of that whole procedure to do it and to do the work, right? And do the work smarter. What you can't get is the mentorship from a human being that has personal stories and lived experiences.
But I challenge that. Why do you need that? The other day, I just learned
relationship building skills. AI can't teach you relationship building skills.
We're talking about, that's true, but we're just talking about productivity output. Like yesterday, over the weekend, I had to repair the bike. I never replaced a tire bike before.
Okay.
Pain in the ass. Use ChatGPT only got me halfway there with the knowledge. Then I just go on YouTube and get the visual tutorial.
Okay.
right? I was able to be more valuable for myself just by doing that. Almost every, my wife, she had to fix something with the plumbing stuff. Same thing. You ChatGPT half of it just to get an understanding, and then you and you just YouTube the other half.
YouTube.
Why you don't need to go out and hire someone.
But
So if you think about it,
solving like a task delivery. I'm thinking about businesses and corporate America. And I'm thinking from a standpoint.
No, corporate America, even more so, because they want people to be more independent. So you don't have to rely on other folks to get shit done.
But I argue that promotions and excelling in your career happens from relationship building skills, which I don't believe you can learn on AI.
That's true, but those are two different things. To be promoted doesn't mean to be more productive.
Correct.
Right? If you look at it the high level, I look at productivity output. Yeah. So if you have folks either changing jobs or getting promotions, if it's not actually leading to more productivity output, it's just a vanity. And of course, relationships are all about vanity.
It's culture building, right? You want to enjoy the place where you work. Finding comes from.
This is where we differ a lot. I have personal enjoyment in my personal life, right? My business is meant to make money. So when I look at it as an investor, as a chairman of the board, as a CEO, and you look at these situations, it's like, great, you can have great culture building. You can have great situations where there's a lot of camaraderie like between everyone. Yeah. But if the productivity is not being actually increased, someone will take your spot who is more productive. Yeah. Right. And I'm not talking about like small business, right? Small business gets by because of local community, right? These are, small businesses, they're providing a small bubble for themselves. Those are different. Those are where I would say this, a lot of that is more important. It's because your revenue ceiling is only so high. When I'm thinking about a business that's making 1 to 5 million, 5 to 10 million, 10 to 20 million. Yeah. Culture is important, but as our workforce to be as productive gets less and less, what the trade-off is, a lot of that relationship building will deter a little bit because there's just less people to talk through. True. There's less compatibility as an individual.
I would argue that makes your relationships even more of a priority because you have less of them.
Focus on your personal time. Do a hobby. Do things that make you human.
But there's a lot of younger generation, the Gen Zers, that are coming up and saying, I really want a job that has a purpose or is mission forward. And I was just arguing this morning at a coffee saying jobs, like an actual company, isn't really going to give you purpose in the job and work. It's very rare that happens. I believe the humans and the human connection are what give you that purpose in any job that you're doing. So if you're able to show up with people in a human way, which I believe goes back to my point of the silver tsunami generation of having value as more of a mentor in how you evolve in a very human way and build relationships. And it's the communication skills that we're evolving in the younger generation to then help them find that purpose in any corporate America style work environment where you are in control of the purpose that you receive because you are having meaningful conversations on the human level at your job. Like the job is going to be.
One of the main benefits of a mentor is they can guide you where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And we have AI to do that. We really do.
But not in the relational space.
No. You don't need a mentor if you're not trying to go somewhere. Those are two different.
Saying for the actual job for doing the thing.
Yeah, if you think you would never even go into the necessity of a mentor unless you were stuck. Mm-hmm. So the relationship is a secondary effect.
What if you were stuck on a human level that is?
What does that mean in a work sense? What does that mean in the work sense?
So in a workspace, like you're having conflict with someone, and you need to know how to resolve that conflict to move forward, to grow, and be more.
Maybe. If from that perspective, it sounds like from an employment perspective, you have HR. Go to HR.
But who's HR made up of? What generation?
It doesn't matter what HR is made up. Their job is to make sure
but that's a human
culture workforce right? person. But that's not a mentor. That's a person
generationally passed down by of relationship building skill sets. That's where I'm arguing I see the value.
I think it's a stretch. What I'm trying to say is it's such a stretch to get there because to even need to be applicable, you
Yeah.
have to get past the ChatGPT is not helping phase. If ChatGPT is helping, you never get there, is my point.
Yeah. So you have to actually have the need, which means you're lacking the need by the tools that you have
Yeah,
now.
I would never have a mentor just be like, I just want a mentor.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, that is fascinating. I do think we can gain so much from AI. It is scary how, with the amount of human beings that are exiting out of our systems and our workforce, how much of that is going to be replaced. But
I don't
also,
see, you got to look at it on both ends too. It's not exiting. There's less people entering. That's
yeah,
actually more scarier than the people exiting.
right, right.
You look at Japan, and you can just look at Japan and Korea and seeing where that trajectory is going.
Yeah,
And I think it just accelerates the idea that birth rates decrease. So you have to kind of prepare that the US will probably hit a similar situation
sure.
where Gen Alpha and I guess Gen Beta will also have either logarithmic or even exponentially less birth rates. And to me, that's where my head's at.
Yeah,
Right? It's like you solving to make the 55 to 65-year-old generation be more productive
yeah.
isn't the future.
No,
Right? It's the future is the folks, is the unborn children and seeing how they come up in this world that was set up for them.
yeah,
And that is how, I'm not solving those problems actively, but that's what keeps that's the thought in the back of my mind when I think about how I'm contributing to society in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
right,
And that matters more. That means, what is the makeup of a corporation? What is the product? What is the point of a business 10 years from now?
right. What are we?
Are there
solving?
more smaller
Right.
businesses because of AI because you need less capital, or is it the reverse? It's more corporations can take up more share because they need less people to do it, but they're incumbents, so it's easier for them to be parasitic to a society, right? Because no one really wants large corporations. Everyone wants to kind of
Right.
control a lot of their destiny. So, I don't know where that future is going, but that's where my head's at a lot. And I think, I look towards Gen Z, I look towards Gen Alpha, and I try to see what the tea leaves of what their thoughts are
Right.
and how I can be of service to them.
I like that. That's a really good place to end. I think trying to create opportunity with our work for the next couple of generations coming in and making sure
And
that
I don't think I'm not doing it from a relationship end. I'm doing it as more of an infrastructure end. I'm seeing it as I don't need to interact with the Gen Z folks for them to take advantage of the things I lay to the railroads I lay for them.
yeah, fascinating. I love it. Well, thanks for the conversation today, Matt. This was great.
Cool. Thanks, Ann. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah. See
I'll
ya.
see you later.